that you are watching the QA Meta Software Live meetup in action. It's the second one. The first one was with Miro, so you can just go find us on YouTube, find the previous session. That was amazing too, and I hope this session will be lovely and you'll be interested in everything we are going to discuss. And we are going to discuss how, like the whole path the Wrike QA team made in 5 years, being the first Allure TestOps users till now, with their huge amounts of testing, and the guys will tell us a little bit more later about that. But let me just introduce our guests in our virtual studio with me, Ruslan Akhmedyanov, Developer Relations Lead at QA Meta Software. And with me it's Alex Shurov. So just wave your hand and say something so that you will pop up in people's displays. Alex joined the Wrike team in 2010 and he was the first QA automation engineer. During these years, he built the QA automation team of amazing developers. Together, they are developing the unique test framework and processes around the processes for their Wrike team and the whole Wrike company, so which lets them manage their code at high level. And the second guest is Ivan Varivoda. He's a QA automation tech lead at Wrike, and he's been at Wrike since 2017. It's almost 6 years already too. So, and he's responsible for QAA tooling, part of test infrastructure, increasing quality of tests. He worked on test quarantine system, test run and retries optimizations, and many other useful things at Wrike. And sometimes he participates in conferences and meetups, as you can see here too. So the first question will be, so guys, just let's say hi to everyone.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, that's great to have you here and thank you for coming. So the first question is for Alex. Tell us more about your company. So let's get acquainted with everyone. So how many engineers do you have? How do you test at Wrike? How many tests do you have? How do you run them? Okay, so let's start with that and then we'll go deeper.
Okay, great, Ivan. Yeah. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us in our event, and I hope that all our information which we provided should be or would be useful for you, for your companies, for your teams, for your process. And so, well, Wrike. Wrike is the collaboration work management platform of choice for around 2,000 plus companies in over 140 different countries. Wrike helps teams increase productivity by 50 or 60% and cut down routine, for example, using emails, etc., by 90%. We provide fully integrated and automated solution for many kinds of teams, such as marketing, IT, all of the IT, professional services, project management, project managers, creative and design teams. Well, in general, Wrike is a versatile work management system and fits for many markets and industries and helps you do the best work of your life. And next question is what is happening under the hood of our Wrike. So now Wrike R&D is approximately 300 plus engineers in 3 offices around the world, and tons of product code and many processes around the development, and all that are required effectively quality assurance processes, and especially high level of automation as well. It means in numbers that we have around 60 plus engineers in QA team, around 16 not around I know exactly 16 software developers and tests in QA team, and more 50 plus contributors in test framework from whole R&D. By the way, we are focusing during the last 2 or 3 years full stack QA approach. It's looks like middle position in terms of key responsibilities between, from one hand, QA, and from another hand, QA automation. Also, it means that full stack QA abstract full stack QA has abstract full stack QA engineer has 2 scopes. It's a scope for QA and for QA automation. Also we have around 2.5 plus million lines of code in end-to-end test framework. 45,000 end-to-end Selenium tests, 19,000 REST API tests, and around 3,000 plus runs of end-to-end tests per month. It means approximately it's around 130 or 180,000 end-to-end tests run daily. So actually it depends, but I mean interval or the border looks like here. So also it's around 70 plus thousand automated tests and 55,000 stored launches at the last 6 months in main project in Allure TestOps solution, Allure TestOps system. So as you see, it's required high quality of management, especially test management for automated tests, test cases, checklists, and etc. Looks like this. Looks like
thank you, Alex. And well, seeing these huge numbers, I actually it's quite easy to understand why you are using Allure TestOps to manage your testing. But you were the first Allure TestOps users years ago. So what was the original challenge when you decided to look for a complex test management solution? So what kind of tools did you use before, and what did you lack in processes or in tooling? So what was the thing to fix when you decided to adopt actually an absolutely brand new tool that would help you to build something different?
Yeah, thank you, Ruslan. Good question. Actually, I would say that it was a long story. It was a long way, and retrospectively, it was some iterations of our test management system evolution. Let me talk about it. So the first, or maybe 0 iteration, was Google Spreadsheets. Well, really, Google Spreadsheets. It looks like a universal tool. We had many documents with test case descriptions and checklists, which linked with spreadsheets of after tests. When the count of sheets stayed unexpected huge. I mean, when you spend too much time for searching, for providing, working, updating spreadsheets, we started to look for test management tool for our processes. It was the second iteration was a practice test solution. We used it for almost 2 years. 2 years or maybe 2.5 years. But during this time, we grow and change it in terms of QA automation, development process, and our expectations were increased. We wanted faster management. For example, we wanted to get results, of running tests in real time due to we run more and more test builds, and we want to get and analyze results at one place, and we faced with some performance issues with receiving test results. And then we tried to implement Allure plugin for TeamCity, and that was looks like a third iteration. We have when we collect test results in one place, and test cases, automated test descriptions, and looks like other QA documentation in another place. And we were living this approach sometime, but however we looked for an unified solution for manual scope and QA scope at the same place. And well, the first iteration was Allure TestOps, and we had already a customized to Allure plugin UI, and we got some kill features for easy moving from practice tests to Allure TestOps. And I want to say it's easy on words, but it was not easy in the practice. And well, we discovered many challenges during this implementation, during implementation Allure TestOps system in our process. And let me ask Ivan to share, I mean, to provide with more details how we stay, how we go into so.
Yeah, so I believe that while Ivan is unmutes himself, we can just say that we're kind of digging into the most interesting details of what kind of challenges people face when they are migrating an already, as far as I understand, large test case base to a new tool, even considering the fact that you've been using Allure report. So let's take a look at that.
Thank you, Ruslan. Thank you, Sasha. I hope that it will be really interesting for you. So I want to share with you some challenges that Allure TestOps helped us to solve, and also some features that we love in Allure and use really often. And some of these features we improved to handle with so many test runs every day, as Sasha said before. And the first cool feature that we love in Allure TestOps is building report in real time. So before, when we used TeamCity plugin for generating Allure report, it took a lot of time to generate this report. For our workspace regression build, it took around 5 or 10 minutes, and we needed to wait for this time to get final result of our build. And Allure TestOps sends test results in real time. So, for example, if you have failed building your test run, you can open a special launch, find this test, look at stack trace, find screenshot, and all this stuff that we love in Allure report. So you can check your reason, and we can check our reasons on failure straight away. We don't need to wait for a long time. Yes, as I said, it saved time of our TeamCity builds a lot. And right now we don't use this plugin, I mean, to generate Allure report, but we had the experiment 1 week ago, and I want to share with you this information. So here we can see that we run most of our tests. So it was around 52,000 and only 38, sorry, failed, and it took around 3 hours. And the most interesting part here is that size of Allure results was 3 gigabytes, and it took around 15 minutes to get Allure report in one of my colleague laptop with Mac. So right now it's not really cool solution. I mean, Allure report to generate this information and report. So the last thing, not last, second, sorry, is test muting. We have many UI tests, Selenium tests, and it's not a secret that these tests are flaky, not very stable, and it's easy to break them, right? And when we have so many tests, we need to deal with it. And Allure TestOps helps us here. So it has test muting system. So if your test is broken or very unstable, you can just mute it and it won't be counted in launch result. So for example, if your launch has only one failed test and it was muted, so the status of your launch will be passed. Very convenient, and it's very easy to mute this test. So here you can see how it can be done. I mean, muting. So you just need to specify a name, reason why you should mute this test, and specify special ID of task, which will be linked to this mute. Just submit, just click on submit button, and that's it. So you can use this feature, and we use this feature in Allure as it is. But for us, this feature had one disadvantage. The test will be run anyway, and for us, it wasn't really cool because we used, and we use right now, the retry mechanism to give our tests one more chance, or two chances, or three, depends on environment. And failed test in such case will lengthen the time of our build. So let me share with you a real example. So this is spec of our tests for small web element. And you can see that for most of tests in this build, it was around 25 seconds to pass. And then we were waiting for 1 minute to for the last result, which was retried a few times. So it's not really cool. And you can imagine if we have a lot of broken tests which should be muted, so we can lengthen our build significantly. So we decided to solve this problem. And here we have good news, because we use Allure TestOps, and all our tests are linked with Allure test cases. So we use test case ID, and this number is common for after test in our web test project and test case in Allure server. So relation 1-to-1. And we know what test cases from Allure are muted. So what we did, we developed our test runner to use this information and exclude muted tests in real time. So when we want to run some pack of tests, firstly, we go to Allure TestOps API, gets muted tests, set of muted tests. Then we exclude this set of muted tests from our initial test pack, and finally run only stable and good tests, and get always cool results because we don't run muted and broken unstable tests. And it was possible again because Allure TestOps has mute feature. Also, we have common test case ID and hard linking, I would say, so relation 1-to-1. And also rich Allure TestOps API. So we have our own client for this API. We use this API a lot, and it's quite easy and convenient to get this list of tests. So also, if you are interested in this topic, we had some presentation for this topic, and you can find it in our Wrike Tech Lab. And we didn't stop there. We went further, and next our step was automation. So we developed a few services which analyzed and which analyze right now success rate of our tests and other information. By the way, we get this information from Allure TestOps and some of additional information from our databases, our internal services, and etc. And after that, these services unmute tests automatically and mute tests automatically. And here you can see that, to be honest, we have a lot of muted tests, more than 1,000. And on this screen, we can see that every day we have changing of muted test count and unmuted test count. For example, on this day, 96 tests were muted and also 97 were unmuted. And some of them were muted and unmuted automatically via our internal services. So this, we call this mechanism like test quarantine, and it works pretty good. And here really cool moment, when this service mute our test, it also create task to fix this test. And this service find responsible guys for this test. And here a very interesting question, who is responsible for a specific test? How to get this information? And again, to solve this problem, we use Allure TestOps, so test ownership. I want to I want to tell you again that we have more than 30 Scrum teams, a lot of tests, huge product, and test owners can be changed. So we need to know the actual responsible person for special tests. And here we use the next approach. So we developed, we created annotations for each our team. Let's say here we can see team opportunity, and also we can see label annotation, which is provided from Allure library. And here we specified our names, Alexander Shurov and Ivan Voyevoda. So this label annotation will be used to link this information about this team in Allure TestOps somehow. Let's skip this part. And after that, we can just put this annotation above our test class, test method, doesn't matter. And then when this test will be run and when all information about this test, I mean test Allure results, will be moved to Allure TestOps, we will find this information in this, let's say, test case description. So here we can see history of this test, steps, but we are interested in members. So it helps us to understand who is really responsible for tests in real time. So this data, we get this data from code, and it helps us quickly find responsible for failed tests. For example, we have failed build. We cannot understand the reason of test because this scope is unknown for us. And we can find guys who can help us and ask them. Or we can mention automatically these guys. So also we use this ownership information in our internal tooling. As I said before, our mute service also create tasks to fix this test and find responsibilities. So we use this information from Allure by API. And the last thing, but not the least, filter tests in Allure TestOps by teams. Let me show you this picture. So mostly all tests in Allure TestOps are grouped by some categories, let's say apex, features, and this is standard view of tests, so tree view. And this tree view has also many filters, and we can add filter for team. So I add filter for team, opportunity. Also, I can specify name of opportunity team, and after that, I will see only related to this team tests. So I can check what is my scope current of my team, how many epics do we have. Also, I can check or get information about, I don't know, each team, collects information, get some statistic and etc. So very convenient. And here I want to, I suggest to look closer to this picture. As I said before, here we can see epics as a tree nodes and also features. So if you're familiar with Allure report, you probably know these annotations or entities from Allure report library. And we can see that here we have common editor component, epic, document editor epic, new boards epic, and under each epic we have a set of features. And under each of these features we have a set of stories or tests directly. So it's very convenient way to group your tests by business categories. So you can check your test coverage. You can understand which features are covered properly in your scope, which features are not covered properly, and all this stuff. So the fourth feature is test markup.
Yep. Ivan, I'm sorry. Yeah. So we got one question from Andrew, and I wanted to put this question a little bit later, but Andrew says that he's leaving soon. So I would really love for Andrew to get the answer just right now. So the question is, it goes for the how it actually works regarding the system which mutes and unmutes the tests automatically. So how does it know the time to unmute a test automatically? So how does the system understand that it should unmute a test?
Yeah, I got it. Very good questions. Thank you for this question. So we have, as far as I remember, a few criteria here. The first one, as I said, when we mute test, we put ID of task, and every day we have special launch for all these muted tests, broken tests, and every day we run these tests. And the first criteria is this test passed, and the task that was connected to this mute also completed. So we can check the status. And we have these two conditions. We can unmute test. So we suppose that test was fixed by someone because task is completed and test passed one time. This is first criteria. The second criteria is, as far as I remember, if test passed 10 times in a row without any information about completion of task. So if test passed 10 times in a row, so we believe that the test is good enough and it can be unmuted. And also, as far as I remember, we can have some additional criteria about retry rate or something else, but to be honest, I don't remember. But these two criteria I remember, and it's enough, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. And sorry for interrupting. Let's go.
No problem. So the first thing that we use in Allure TestOps is test markup. But so how it works, I already told. So we can use epics, features, and stories annotation from Allure library, Allure report library, put them above our test. And for example, this test has epic new board, epic workspace, and a few features. And then these features and epics will be reflected into tree structure of our, how to say, categories, groups of tests. So, and it will be easy to find them and understand that. Yeah. So to be honest, this Allure report library has this functionality as well. So it's not a killer feature of Allure TestOps, but sometimes you need to add additional test markup. For example, technical markup. So you should probably need to group your test by some technical categories. Let's say smoke test that can be run on Safari, screenshot test. We call test screenshot if this test checks visual state of our application. And also, we want to see this information about these tests in Allure TestOps because this is a single source of truth for us about tests. So, and Allure gives us this opportunity. We can create new annotation, let's say type. It's our real annotation. Again, add label annotation with K type. This K will be used in Allure TestOps configuration to link this. And then we can use this type for our test as epics features. Let's say we marked up this test. We type after smoke to usages and type Safari browser. So it means that this test is in some after smoke pack and it can be run on Safari. And to be honest, we use the same annotations to run our test by our test filters, and we had somewhere in our Wrike lab, presentation about it if you're interested in it. And cool feature here that Allure TestOps again give us opportunity to filter, to use this type in filter. So we can add this filter, and I can check which tests in my scope, I'm in opportunity scope, are inside after smoke to usage pack. So I can mix these combinations in many ways, and it's sometimes it's really not sometimes always it's really useful. So here I can easily get information which my tests are inside in smoke pack. So and you can mix these combinations as I said before. And the fifth feature that we use, so we have many tests, many daily runs, and we want to measure speed of our test, stability of our tests, and other metrics, duration, etc. And Allure TestOps has analytics view, so some analytics instruments inside. But to be honest, we don't use this analytics because we always used our own solution for metrics. We always saved information about our test in our databases. We had some services to get information about statistics, success rate, and other stuff. But here we use Allure TestOps as a test data source. So what I mean, for example, we get from Team City some information, but we need additional information, and we can get this information and find only in Allure TestOps. So again, we our Allure client gets information in our internal tooling, save this information into our internal databases in convenient for us way. And then we use Grafana to create charts and analyze our statistics. So I can share a few examples for you. So here is a chart for failed in first run test and successfully retried test. So it means that this chart shows us how many tests do we have which fail before retries for average and 80th percentile, and the same how many tests successfully retried. So we can understand, is our retry mechanism good enough, efficient enough, and etc. So a specific thing for us. And the second and the last example here, total runtime of deploy build. So it shows us how many hours we need to run all our deploy tests. So previously we have around 16 or 15 hours, but you can see here this amount was decreased, sorry. And we have some goals in our Q3 and Q4 quarter. And again, these metrics helped us to measure our results. So we use, and again, we get some additional information about our tests from Allure TestOps by API. So summary, report in real time, very cool feature. You don't need to waste a lot of time to get to wait your Allure report will be ready. So the second useful features like muting, ownership, custom markup, very convenient stuff. All data is in the code. So we always know that Allure TestOps has actual information about our test owners and etc. Test data source for analyzing. Again, we can get a lot of useful information, and we get a lot of useful information from Allure TestOps. And the last, so good API for getting this, receiving this information. Yes, I think that's it from my side about top features.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. And there is one more question for you, actually. So I'll just take a couple of minutes for us to, as far as it is considered, the question like goes for this part of the talk and topic. So do you label your tests by severity level? So like showstopper, major, minor bug or something, and if yes, so do you consider it when muting your tests?
Nice question, thank you. No, we don't use severity. We have special types like after smoke type. So it's a special smoke pack that touch each part of our product. So, and we use this packet not to run all regression, but we don't have some critical or major or something like that.
Okay, so you're just using actually like test suites as like a severity level. So you've got a small suite that in case when something breaks there, that means that there is something huge happening, and you're not like not running all other tests. Okay, got it. Thank you. And then we're going back to Alex to continue our discussion, because I know that Alex has something to add about the challenges, not in terms of challenging QA tasks, but in terms of challenging stuff of working with the system itself. So Alex, please.
Yeah, thank you. Well, in additional and summarizing Ivan's feedback, I would say that we could split our challenges into two types. From one hand, it was about process inside of test checklists. In general, it was adopting test management system in our current workflow. And from another hand, it was infrastructure challenges. So actually, as Ruslan mentioned, we were the first user of Allure TestOps, and Nobody know exactly how the system was working under the load, what's the most effective or right architecture with properly settings or locations, resource for it, etc. And to be honestly, it wasn't too many challenges due to we have brilliant engineers in our company with significant expertise of supporting and maintaining any systems and solutions, and Allure is not looked as exceptional. I could provide the recent infrastructure challenge. It's with huge queue on Rabbit part of Allure and long time handling them by report pods, and so it's another component of Allure TestOps system. And you might ask, how does it affected users? So in general, it affected users by a long time waiting reports of test results. It's a big pain to wait when it comes, and in our case, we solve it by tuning system, by increasing count of reporter pods, plus to add some settings for extending resources for RabbitMQ pod also, and look like it helped us to fix this issue. Also, due to the huge amount of data which we stored in Allure TestOps, we should be more care with allocation resources for each component of Allure. I mean, disk size, memory, CPU, actually memory types, as I mentioned in the case before with Rabbit, etc. And for example, current DB sites is around database sites is around 500 gigabytes, plus keep in mind allocation for DB backups. So actually it's around 200 gigabytes for the last 3 days backups. Also, it's S3 sites storage. In our case, it's around 9 terabytes. Also, keep in mind cleanup policies for all data, because the weight of the data sometimes may be too unexpected huge, and also it's a potential risk of infrastructure issues. Anyway, everything takes our time for supporting and maintaining. But it led us to be faster and effectively in our development, deploy, and core processes.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And speaking of one of the issues you've actually mentioned, concerning the speed of RabbitMQ queue, there is actually an experimental feature being developed within our team right now, and I believe that in future releases it will come up soon as an experimental feature which you can allow or not allow to use, because we're still testing that one, which actually allows to extremely increase the speed of queue ordering and queue resolving for large amounts of testing. So if you are using Allure TestOps, just stay tuned with new versions and keep your eye on the performance part, because you might be surprised soon, like in Q1 of 2023. So, and now we are going to the last question.
Ersan,
yeah.
sorry for
Oh,
interruption.
of course, yeah.
I think that it's important notice about Allure TestOps team, that the support team of Allure is really nice and high expertise guys. Sometimes when we faced on issues, infrastructure issues, and type it in ticket support system. It's so fast resolving. Actually, big thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, just right today in our social media, there was a post about 2,200 of help desk cases resolved in 2022 by our support team, which is like not an extremely large team. And I was like, oh god, these guys are working hard on and doing great work. So there are two questions actually. One from Konstantin, which is, do you use cloud version of Allure TestOps or your own on-premises version?
So actually, we use Google Cloud Engine for Allure. Actually, it's a cloud solution, Kubernetes. So actually,
well, speaking of that, I just want to clear it, to make it completely clear that as far as I understand, Wrike doesn't use the Allure Cloud version, which was released like in October. So you are using your on-premises like instance, which is hosted in the infrastructure which you maintain, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess we've answered the question, and then I guess that when are we including a run button in the Allure Jira plugin for launches? Sergey, I believe that question is for me, and at this point, I don't know actually. So, and that's a question to ask our support, and they will be really fast to answer you, or just ping me or contact me somewhere, or ask us under the YouTube video, so I will be able to ask our team, is there any plans on upgrade, because we're like upgrading our plugins, especially for Jira, continuously. So if there is a feature request to make this button, well, let's ask our team to make it, and then we'll find it out when it goes to the roadmap and to the development team sprints. So that's the answer I can provide to you, because I actually don't know the specific answer. I think you will just excuse me for that. So yeah, thank you. And then we are moving for the next question, and the last one actually. So you will be able to participate with your questions after this one. So Alex, what are your plans for developing your QA automation team in Wrike in 2023? So just what are you planning next?
Okay. Thank you. So we have long-term strategy for our next steps of development in our team, and it's not only for 2023, and it's also for 2024, and for them right and faster development, completing our milestones. Actually, we need human resources or engineers, and by the way, now we are looking for QA automation engineer to be an integral part of our development team to ensure product quality. So our vision is the world where everyone is free to focus on their most purposeful work together. And as a QA automation engineer, you will be participating in test automation by developing internal tools and services for the Wrike product, which are written in Java. We believe in, as I mentioned, in the full stack QA approach without a strict separation of QA or QAA. You also have opportunity to develop your automation skills at our Wrike QA automation school, designed to be growing and expanding your scripting skills. And to be successful, you should enjoy working in fast-paced environment, have web experience, web testing experience, passionate about quality with a proactive attitude. And so you're welcome. Scan QR code, choose QA position, and apply your CV in Wrike LinkedIn job page. And so about future plans, I would say that we focus on three high-level approaches, or goals. The first one is our processes. Every day we are improving and polishing our processes. We have many points of growth. We definitely know exactly where we can boost and what we need to do. Our processes are built on, first of all, on feedback and metrics, which let us hear and understand each other. Measure success or progress of our work and abilities to detect or predict that something might go wrong during the process, and be able to stop wasting time and make pilots as well. In terms of technologies, I would say in common approach we are going to simplify our test framework, to simplify our test process, to open opportunities or open a door in QA automation world for other engineers, which have not enough tech level for developing test and current test framework, or it's required somehow study, teaching, learning, and etc. And also, we don't forget about keeping update our tools, libraries, frameworks, and infrastructure with vendors fresh and stable versions. Accept that it's better to use new and faster iPhone instead of old and slow. And the last one is fostering our engineering or our QA team, our engineers, which is based on trust and respect to each other. And we are engaging in their personal development and growth in tech scopes, improving soft skills and collaboration for newcomers. We have significant onboarding plan for soft diving in our process, in our team. From my perspective, it's too important to build an effective team. In fact, that the team is bringing much more value than source. And I'm deeply convinced that 1 + 1 in our team is not equals 2. It's minimum 3 or more, and the synergy of our collaboration provide us amazing results, especially with right tools, frameworks, and test management system. It might be look like an advertising, but to be honestly, Allure TestOps solution is a significant tool which boosts our process in qualitatively new level. And I want to say a big thanks to everyone who was a part of this way. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Alex. Thank you, Ivan, especially for this good news in the end, and that's amazing. So I want to say, everyone, so just if you didn't scan the QR code, you will be able to do that after we release the video of the meeting afterwards. At this point, I just wanted to say again, thank you to everyone, and now we can ask more questions. We've got like 10 minutes for Q&A session, and if there will be a lot of questions, we will be able to stay a little bit later, but that's okay, we are ready for that. And the next question is again from Sergey. What's about Python QAA for job? Why are you considering only Java?
Well, thank you for question. So in general, historically, it happened that looks like that we started to use Java, and all our frameworks, all our processes developed and still are developing in Java, and it required, I think, that high quality or high expertise in Java. And to be honestly, I mean, from my perspective, I can't imagine how the good engineer with good level in Python can do something in Java without Java experience. From one hand, and so from another hand, maybe I can I can't right understanding the main idea of your question. But anyway, actually, I think that it's not good for us to make Zoho with many frameworks in different languages, etc., etc., etc. Because right now we are focusing on common approach with for letting our engineers use framework which written on Java for developing tests, and it required too much more invest time, resources for study, for teaching guys for any other languages. So it looks like logical mind looks like.
Yeah, so I see, Ivan, that you actually raised your hand, so I will give you the word after I make just a small comment. I don't think it's a question of like holy wars between Python or Java, so it's more a question of the use tooling and the historical like timeline of the Wrike team, for example. And the other thing is, if you are now Python developer or software developer test, I don't think there is gonna be any extremely tough things if you just want to work with Wrike, for example, and then just discuss the process of onboarding, and then just go and just learn Java, so you will stay just bilingual now, and that's another option for you. So Ivan, please.
Yeah, I want to answer one more question. We can't use Java, let's say, also, and is one more reason. And also, as Sasha said, we have really we have a lot of infrastructure tooling on Java, and I want to share with you some experience. Some time ago, maybe 1 quarter ago, we decided to try Python in our test framework, and we wanted to develop, I don't remember, to be honest, some notification script. Yes, bot. And when we started developing, we understood that, okay, we need client for Allure. We have client for Allure in Java. Here it is, so you can just use it. So, okay, we need to create something new. Okay, we need to client to Slack. Of course, I know there are many clients in Python and Slack, but we already have expertise in Java, and we know how we use our client. But again, we need to develop something new. And the same, and then we understood that it's not really smart way, let's say, convenient for us, and we, as far as I remember, use Java finally.
And
Yeah,
for additional, I wanted to provide easy example. Or looks like if you a good electrician man and you do your job very good or amazing, I think that it's better to improve your skills in electrician business. I mean, and don't touch something with pipes or something with another scopes actually.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Alex. And there is one more question in our chat, which sounds like you've got a huge amount of UI tests comparing to API tests. Is this specific to the project? Doesn't it contradict to the classic testing pyramid approach? Okay, we've got the testing pyramid here. Great.
Yes, so you are right. We have many UI tests and not so many API, but the main reason I would say we have really complicated web applications. So we have a lot of business logic in front end. We have many views to represent information, and to cover this all stuff properly, we have many UI tests. And this is the first reason. The second one, in our test framework, it's very easy to develop UI tests, and it seems like it's so easy because each engineer can do it, and we can handle this amount of tests. So and we try to create our test really atomic. So and each test does only special things. So in some cases we can develop one after test, one UI Selenium test, but we split, for example, this test into, I don't know, 5 or more. And when this test fails, we understand that exactly this part of our logic is broken. That is why we have many UI tests.
Okay, thank you. I got it. Is that a good answer, Constant? Yeah, I see. That's great. If you want to ask any questions more, just drop the questions under the video, and if needed, I will just drop the link to Ivan or Alex, and they will just come to answer that one, or I will just contact Artyom, who will be also really happy to help. So there is a question actually from Igor. What kind of Selenium grid are you using?
So we use our DevOps team. They implemented with us, with our help, Calista. So the name of this tool Calista, and you can find information about Calista in YouTube. So DevOps made presentation about this tool. So it's something like Moon, as far as I understood, but this tool was done by our own way. So DevOps developed this application, and it's like Moon. It's something like that. Yeah, details you can find in YouTube, or maybe some articles we have.
Yeah, actually, I've dropped the link to Wrike Tech Club YouTube too, so just subscribe our channels, stay tuned, and thank you for coming. And at this point, again, thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.